It's been a little over 6 months since we moved in together with my boyfriend. Everything was like the best of dreams. We spent time together all the time, watched movies and TV shows, and even cooked together. Not to mention in bed. Honestly, not just in bed. We explored every interesting place in our apartment. The kitchen counters, the couch, even the shower, all became part of our little adventures. We were really in sync with each other. But as of late, things have changed. My boyfriend started playing computer games all the time and stopped paying attention to me. He spent hours glued to the screen as if the rest of the world didn't exist. He seemed to fade away from our relationship, and I felt increasingly lonely. His best friend, Ethan, was supposed to come over today. He came over often and sometimes stayed until the morning. Luke was my boyfriend's name. I always liked Ethan. He was outgoing, funny, and often made me feel comfortable. Unlike Luke lately, Ethan had a way of making me smile, even when things weren't going well with Luke and me. Ethan's coming over to our place soon, Luke. Can you turn off your stupid computer? Yeah, now, he said, without taking his eyes off the screen. His behavior irritated me and pissed me off. Those words meant, leave me alone. I'm playing and I'm not going to stop. He didn't seem to care about me or us anymore. The time was nearing evening and Ethan was due to arrive soon. I went to my room and changed into my comfy and cute pajamas. I decided to open a bottle of wine and relax a little to relieve the nervous tension. The tension had been building up inside of me for weeks now. I had been patient, hoping that things would change, but nothing was changing. I had just taken a sip of wine and set my glass on the table when the doorbell rang. There, Ethan's here, I said out loud and went to open the door for our guest. Hi, beautiful, Ethan said with his usual charming smile. Hi, come on in, I said as I let him into the apartment. He quickly took off his outerwear and made his way to Luke, my boyfriend, in the room. Luke only took his eyes off the computer for a second to greet his best friend and then went back to ignoring everyone else, focusing solely on the game. He didn't used to be like that, Ethan said, shaking his head slightly. Yeah, things used to be perfect between us, and now he barely notices me at all. We even stopped making love, I replied sadly, my voice shaking slightly as I spoke. The frustration and sadness had been building up for a long time, and it felt good to let it out. It's certainly not a good thing. Such a beautiful girl and to leave her unattended? That's awful, Ethan said, moving in close to me. I noticed him put his hand on my knee and slowly began to raise it higher. His touch sent shivers down my spine, and for a moment I hesitated. Part of me knew it was wrong, but another part of me craved attention. Are you sure about this? I whispered to Ethan, my voice barely audible. He can't hear or see anything anyway, he's too engrossed, Ethan replied, settling me into his lap. I looked over at Luke, who was completely immersed in his game, oblivious to everything else. It seemed like I didn't exist to him anymore. Luke? I called out again, hoping for some sort of response. Yeah, in a minute, was all Luke said, not taking his eyes off the game, his fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. I was deeply affected by this, and so I didn't resist Ethan. On the contrary, I was glad for his attention. The way Ethan was looking at me, touching me, made me feel desirable again. It was something I hadn't felt in a long time. We ended up having a wonderful evening together. We laughed and drank and got closer and closer. Luke didn't notice anything, and it broke my heart that he wasn't getting enough attention. The rest of the evening seemed unreal to me. Ethan whispered affectionate words to me, and I snuggled up to him, savoring every word, every touch. Eventually, we ended up on the couch, pressed against each other, and for the first time in weeks I felt alive again. It wasn't just the physical closeness, but the fact that I was seen and appreciated, that there was someone around who needed me. Luke stayed at his computer, oblivious to anything that was happening in the living room. He was immersed in his own virtual world, and it was as if I had completely disappeared from his reality. I knew it was wrong, But at that moment I wanted only one thing, to feel wanted and loved. Ethan gave me that, even if it was just for one night. If you enjoyed this story, please support it with a like and subscribe for more stories.